Tonight on the NTV Evening News Hour. Tragedy strikes two communities on the Bayvert Peninsula.
Yes, it has been very cruel. And we knew the fisherman that was drowned a few weeks ago. And now this one, the third one, it's hard to deal with.
Canada drops counter tariffs on seafood products as the trade war with the U.S. continues. Plans for a commercial spaceport in St. Lawrence get a $10 million boost.
We are not creating a pioneering spirit here in St. Lawrence and Newfoundland. We are indeed extending one.
And Quebec is going to the polls in an election that could have consequences for Churchill Falls.
It's a possibility that another government decide to tear up that agreement.
Oh, some rain on the way to parts of Labrador, but we're going to watch Newfoundland clear open again for another beautiful day to finish off the week. Spoiled rotten. Come on in. We'll chat about it together. See you then.
The award-winning NTV Evening News Hour with Tony Marie Wiseman, Michael Connors, and your weather forecast with Ryan Harding.
Good evening. Two communities on the Bayvert Peninsula are in mourning after separate tragedies on Wednesday.
One man died after a house fire in Rattling Brook, and then another man drowned while fishing for squid near Westport. NTV's Colleen Lewis was in Westport today and has this report on that fishing tragedy.
A 42-year-old man from Westport was returning to this wharf on Wednesday with a load of squid. He was only meters from safety when something went wrong.
Just debris from the boat washing up on the rocks. So we had spoken to another community member that had actually seen the incident and saw the boat go down and knew roughly what area he was in, which I believe greatly helped the search efforts, because without that information, we could have been searching the ocean for days and days and days and not known where he was.
The loss is being felt across the Bayvert Peninsula, where in July, two commercial fishermen were lost near Brent's Cove. It's a lot for people here.
You see, it's a hard time. You think about what happened and stuff. Both the fishing, you're going to have accidents sometimes, and in a short time, and when you get so many accidents like that, you're going to think about back what happened before and everything.
Yes, it has been very cruel, and we knew the fisherman that was drowned a few weeks ago, and now this one, the third one, it's hard to deal with. It's very, very devastating.
He is being remembered today as a hard worker who lent a hand wherever he could.
Oh, he was a very hard-working man. If someone was doing something, like the fisherman or anyone, he would chip in and help other people. And he was very, very crafty at things.
He was a good feller. He was fishing. He was a hard-working feller. He didn't stop. So nothing happened. I lived there all my life, and he was a good feller around here. And there was no trouble or nothing. I used to help me out on the wharf there sometimes when I was fishing.
Now, when it comes to the circumstances that led to Wednesday's accident, Transport Canada will make a determination based on an official investigation. For NTV News, I'm Colleen Lewis in Westport.
Seafood has officially been removed from the list of goods Canada will be tariffing. In a statement, the Federal Finance Department said based on feedback from industry, it made select adjustments that included removing seafood and fish products from its list of counter tariffs while maintaining a dollar-for-dollar response to U.S. products. The FFAW is welcoming the move. Union President Dwan Street was not available for an interview today, but she took to social media to call it a team effort and thanks the province and Unifor for ensuring the industry was put front and center.
We have updated the list. The list is in Canada's best interest. And that happens from time to time, that these lists are updated, you know. And so we made the update because I think that was the right thing to do in the interest of Canada. And that's what we always strive to do when it comes to the measures.
It was on Tuesday when NTV's Mary-Kate O'Neill reported on the large amount of youth sexual abuse charges moving through both the provincial and federal courts. Well, tonight, Mary-Kate speaks with the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary about the work of their Child Abuse and Sexual Assault Unit.
The Royal Newfoundland Constabulary is weighing in today on how over a dozen alleged offenders on the dockets are facing charges of youth sexual abuse. Constable Stephanie Myers with the RNC says any charge of this nature is disturbing, but it's also proof that investigators here are doing the hard work to get these type of offenders off of our streets.
We have been able to lay a number of charges in recent files.
One of the many specialized units that operate within the RNC is the Child Abuse and Sexual Assault Unit, otherwise known as CASA. And as the name indicates, these officers focus on cases pertaining to youth sexual abuse and sexual assault as a whole.
It's a dedicated, highly trained unit of officers. There's a sergeant and a number of constables that investigate child abuse and sexual assault related matters. And all of the files that we've released more recently, there's been some serious investigations involving youth victims. Those files have all gone through the same unit. So it's the same officers coming day after day investigating these files.
It's an incredibly tough job to do. But Constable Myers says it's because of this unit's dedicated work that we are now seeing these disturbing youth sexual abuse charges in the courts.
In recent months, we have seen a lot of, graphic charges come before the courts, stemming from the good work of our CASA officers. It's important to recognize them as well. They come back day after day to investigate these matters. They're heavy in nature. They are extremely concerning and disturbing, but these officers continue to come back and show up to work every day to work for those people, the victims within our communities.
While Constable Myers says even one case of youth sexual abuse in this province is one too many, the unit is ready to handle any case. And these officers are trained with a trauma approach to help victims from the beginning to the very end.
They're trained for a trauma-informed approach. They support the survivor, most of the time being youth. They support them through the process. So it doesn't end with the criminal charge. They support them through the court process. They provide them with any resources that they may need through the entire length of the process and going forward. But I also believe that the people in the community, like the victims, are feeling more empowered and encouraged to come forward. They are feeling safe in speaking with police. And certainly speaking about it in the media helps as well to let them know they're not alone and that they can come forward and that we can lay charges in these matters where applicable.
If you or someone you know is a victim of sexual abuse, you can contact the RNC at 729-8000 and they'll get you in touch with a CASA officer. Mary-Kate O'Neill, NTV News.
A long-awaited provincial election was finally called in Quebec today. NTV's Bailey Howard tells us what that could mean for the new Churchill Falls Agreement.
While elections in other Canadian provinces rarely draw this level of local attention, Thursday's election call in Quebec has high stakes for the Churchill Falls Agreement.
It's a possibility that another government decide to tear up that agreement.
The historic deal between our province, Quebec, and the federal government was made in St. John's 10 days ago, but it's not set in stone. Definitive agreements are expected to be reached in December, but that could depend on the outcome of the Quebec election. Current Premier Christine Fréchette visited the province's Lieutenant Governor on Thursday morning to dissolve the legislature, setting into motion a 39-day election campaign. Voting day is set for October 5th. Fréchette, who signed the deal with Premier Wakeham, is up against the Parti Québécois, who opposed the old MOU but have said they would maintain the new deal if they determine that it benefits Quebec. The PQ continues to lead in the polls, recent polls placing the party at 30% ahead of Fréchette's coalition Avenir Quebec, who are tied with the Liberal Party at 23%. When Quebecers go to the polls this fall, they will decide if the deal gets the green light. Here in this province, some previous attempts at a new Churchill Falls deal have not survived elections. More than 2 decades ago, then Liberal Premier Roger Grimes reached a draft agreement with Quebec to develop the Gull Island project, but it didn't reach the next phase before his government lost to Danny Williams' PCs in the 2003 election.
This is the 4th announcement I've been at in the last number of years, and as a pro-development person, I'm just hopeful every time that this is going to be the one.
Former Liberal Premier Andrew Furey's 2024 MOU was brought back to the drawing board when the PCs formed government last October. While Premier Wakeham has yet to comment on the election call, he made 2 social media posts touting the deal today. One stating Churchill Falls is about more than power, it's about what we build with it.
And I refer to this as a win-win-win. And I think that's something that we are proud of. I'm not interested in simply a loser and a winner. I want a situation where we can all have an opportunity, and I think we've done that with this agreement.
Bailey Howard, NTV News.
Plans to build a commercial spaceport in St. Lawrence are continuing. Today, federal and provincial officials joined with Nord Space to inject $10 million into that project. NTV's Ross Tilley reports.
As countries around the world invest in their own launch capabilities, Canada is building the capacity to launch from Canadian soil and compete in the rapidly growing global race to space. That is why federal, provincial, and private investments to the amount of $10 million were announced at Nord Space's Atlantic Spaceport in St. Lawrence today, aimed at strengthening Canada's role in global space economy.
Uncertainty in our trading relationships with the United States has drawn into focus something that we should have been working on for the past 75 years. Building an economy that can stand on its own 2 feet, making sure that we can meet our most essential needs here at home and create good jobs for people in the process. This Atlantic Spaceport complex is going to help fill an important gap in our economy. It's going to build a new sector here in Atlantic Canada, and importantly create good paying jobs for people who call this part of the world home. That's why I'm so thrilled to announce today, on behalf of the Government of Canada, that we'll be investing $1 million towards the expansion of this facility, including the development of a second pad for the spaceport.
This investment in ASX complex here is more than a construction project. It's part of Canada's defence industrial strategy. It is a sovereign capability for Canada. So today, I am proud to announce a Government of Newfoundland and Labrador investment of $4 million for Nord Space Atlantic Spaceport Complex.
We are not creating a pioneering spirit here in St. Lawrence and Newfoundland. We are indeed extending one. That's why I'm proud to announce that alongside the investments from ACOA and the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, Nord Space is committing $5 million of our own private capital to the spaceport, with more to follow.
Many milestones are waiting in the stars for Nord Space, says MHA Paul Pike. And to think it's happening in St. Lawrence.
This isn't theoretical. Our satellite, Terra Nova, that is headed for orbit this October, is going to be watching the Arctic and monitoring wildfires. Incredibly important for us here in Canada. Our lunar rover, Terry, privately financed just like Terra Nova, Canadian built at Nord Space at our headquarters in Ontario, lands on the moon next year. And in fact, it'll be the first Canadian lunar rover in history and only the 6th nation to do so.
Who knew that St. Lawrence would be, needed by Nord Space for rocket launches? Who knew that this was an ideal setting? It's just an amazing project.
For NTV News, Ross Tilley, St. Lawrence.
American markets end the day mostly positive after earnings reports. The TSX up 21 points to 36,834. The venture exchange up 1 point to 1,004. The Dow was up 106 to 53,569. The Nasdaq was up 411 points to 26,541. Gold up $13.75 to $4,604.82 U.S. an ounce. Brent crude oil up $1.93 to $89.77 U.S. per barrel. The Canadian dollar up 0.12 to 72.18 cents U.S. Fortis dropped 73 cents a share to $76.06. Labrador iron ore up 17 cents to $27.02, and Altius Minerals up by $1.33 to $67.53.
Tonight's weather
brought to you by GMC's employee pricing for you. Get up to a $16,240 cash purchase credit today on a 2026 GMC Sierra Denali Ultimate.
Another beautiful day out there today.
I know, and I love it. I have to say, I'm loving this little end of summer break for the kids. Beautiful.
It's perfect. That's the perfect day out there today, I think, and we're going to be able to copy and paste that into a large portion of the province tomorrow. We do have some rain. Labrador City, going to be a rainy day for you tomorrow. A little bit in Churchill Falls, takes to the evening to Happy Valley Goose Bay. Other than that, sun and cloud. So, it's going to be a picture-heavy segment here, boss, I tell you, because outside of saying it's going to be sunny tomorrow, there's not a whole lot to chat about, and don't you love it, because we'll be chasing hurricanes and snowstorms before you know it. So we're going to take a little trip back to last night. How lovely was that last night? Goobies. Karen Tulk showing us that it was the perfect night for a fire down by a very calm water. Even the wind's playing along, isn't it? Light wind, the humidity was down today. Last night, it stuck around just long enough to make it worthwhile out there. You didn't even really need a sweater. Look at that sun go down in Bonavista. Kathy's showing us the beauty that is off the wharf in Bonavista. Moving over into Gander Cobb's Pond, showing us what it's all about. And Edgar doing the job there. So thank you for that. Gorgeous. Look at the colors in the middle there and the reflection. Again, just calm last night, wasn't it? We move up into Goose Cove, where Melissa spent the winter showing us really the eyes and the ears on the ground for a large portion of the northern peninsula and all the snow that they had this winter, but nothing but sun last night and absolute beauty in Goose Cove. So Melissa, thank you again for the summer edition. And then once the sun set, I got a lot of moon shots last night because it was so bright and it was so clear. Sure, a little bit of cloud in St. Louis there in coastal Labrador, but Marilyn showing us just how bright it lit up the sky. And we'll save Labrador into the daytime version as well, where Andrew sending majestic creature, hey, out of Labrador City, where a little bit of cloud there, but blue sky to boot. I'm told Andrew works at a camp in Labrador City, and the boys all gather around and watch on their break. So hello to you. What are you at? Would it be Bird Construction Camp? That'd be ironic, wouldn't it? Andrew, thank you for the photo. Great shot of the bald eagle. And just north of Burgeo, this was Don's commute today. Gorgeous. Man, add a little bit of water to anything, and it just makes it that much better, doesn't it? Lake, pond, ocean, doesn't matter. Beautiful. Speaking of water, look at this. I like this one. Kathy sent it in from Dead Man's Bay. We finished off last night with Pasadena Beach, so we'll move over to the Kittiwake Coast where, man, oh man, the beach is out there, I tell you. But look at the way that sun is reflecting on the water. Almost looks like a big wave is cresting, doesn't it? Does a little trick with the eyes. Gorgeous nonetheless. What a day it was for it, too. Down in Buren, Boyd showing us. Listen, Boyd, I hoped you hop in that boat. There's no better day than today to get in that, was there? Again, look how calm the water is. Barely a ripple. Championship day on the lake in St. John's today, I'm sure, up in Butter Cove. Have you been to Butter Cove? Right around Gooseberry Cove. Absolutely gorgeous hikes out there. Did one right at the start of the summer on a day kind of like this. But look at that, not a cloud in the sky. Barbara showing us out of Butter Cove. And we'll finish off the journey in Harbor, Maine. Of Harbor, Maine, Chapels Cove, Lakeview. Paula showing us that there was a crowd out on the water trying their luck, and you can't really see it, but when I had this on the computer, you zoom in, there's a little bit of a bend. You might see it there, a little bit of a bend on the rod. You get something there? Maybe, hopefully. Fingers crossed you did, and you're having it now. Frying it up at 25 degrees in St. John's, sun and cloud. If you remember, 2 days ago at this time, it felt like 34. Last night, it felt like 29. Tonight, it feels like 27. So you see the trend there. We're going to really apply today's logic into tomorrow for the eastern side of the island. But places like Corner Brook and Grand Falls, Windsor, we're going to get back to some of those muggy conditions. So more on that in just a moment. But again, just showcasing, I mean, what is there to talk about other than the blue skies and sun? And we'll apply that into Labrador as well. We'll take a look at the temperatures, and these are going to be almost exact daytime highs into tomorrow, where we see a 29 in Happy Valley Goose Bay, going to come down to 27, in fact, tomorrow. For the eastern side of the island, much the same, another 25-degree daytime high, but you can see that the humidity peaks at one point and then comes down a little bit quicker. And here we go. We'll finish off with the west and central portion. What we're going going to see is by the end of the day, that humidity peak hold into Saturday and then drop off. And it looks like Grand Falls, Windsor in particular, that top number is going to feel like 34. So for Newfoundland as a whole, we're going to have sun and cloud tomorrow with a little bit of humidity in there. And when we come back there, Michael and Tony Marie, we got a little bit of rain in Labrador City, finishing off in Happy Valley Goose Bay to talk about. Other than that, we're just going to continue on with the nice weather.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. A court ruled today that 3 women had their charter rights violated when they were unlawfully arrested during a protest outside Confederation Building in 2024. NTV's Becky Daly tells us more.
As the judge went through and then gave her verdict, the courtroom just went up in roars and celebration and claps.
It's been a lengthy fight for these 3 women who were arrested back in November of 2024 for protesting in front of Confederation Building against wind turbines, using a boat as a symbol of demonstration.
Because we were here and in the boat, they have this new law or this regulation of unauthorized use of government property. So that's the law that they used, the grounds to have us arrested.
Government property is the people's property. It's our property. So personally, I think that legislation should be thrown out. The judge decided that it was an unlawful arrest and that Section 9 of the Charter was breached and that we never should have been arrested in the first place.
The government should have answered our questions. And the fact that they called the cops on us in the first place just goes to show that they don't want to be answering questions about wind turbines, these mega projects. They want to shut us up as much as they possibly can.
Their group, Protect NL, has been protesting against wind energy and hydrogen projects in the province, looking for answers from government on financial implications and health impacts.
Because we know that these projects are no good. That's one thing we learned over these past few years. There's no answers because if Newfoundlanders and Labradorians really knew the truth, they would continue to be outraged and they'd have to be stopped. So we need these projects stopped, and we aren't going to be stopped.
These are bad deals for Newfoundland, and we stand on that, and this is not going to stop us, and it didn't stop us, and it won't.
There are several proposed projects across the province, and the group says they are against each of them. Becky Daly, NTV News.
Nonprofit organizations are hard at work fielding back-to-school demands. As NTV's Beth Penny tells us tonight, there are renewed calls for a consistent provincial school supply list to make the school year more affordable right across the board.
Between the Single Parents Association and Bridges to Hope's Bag to School program, thousands of book bags are being packed up for students in need.
So this year we've received about 1,100 requests for support. We're really happy to say we've had amazing community support this year and no child has had to sit on a wait list for assistance.
The goal is to take some financial pressure off families as they prepare for yet another school year. At Bridges to Hope, known for their food pantry, they've already packed up close to 1,100 book bags full of all the back-to-school essentials. And while the work continues, they say the demand isn't going away.
We try to provide all of the necessary classroom supplies, so binders, loose leaves, exercise books, pencils, pencil cases, markers, leads, things like that.
In a time as fraught as this with political tensions, and sometimes it feels like you really can't do anything, being on the ground like this and seeing the impact that the generosity of St. John's community as a whole has for people who are in need and require support, it just feels absolutely amazing.
The need is still being felt here at the Single Parent Association. Danielle Seward is the executive director of the organization, and she says something that they've been long calling for is a more consistent approach when it comes to school supply lists across the province, without brain-nam requests for supplies, often adding to the already expensive list.
Some folks are seeing that they need to bring a water bottle for their child, and it's being specified Stanley or Hydro Flask. To me, that's absolutely ridiculous. If they can afford a water bottle from a dollar store, so be it. We don't need to be focused on brand-specific items. It could be Crayola markers or dollar store markers. It's markers at the end of the day. So, you know, we're not doing our families any favors by creating these unrealistic expectations on the school supply list. So that's definitely one thing we're pushing for this year again, is for in the future us to have one standard list across the province. It doesn't matter if you're grade 2 in Gander, if you're grade 2 in Goose Bay, you have the same things that you need to bring to school.
The Single Parent Association is still accepting both monetary donations as well as book bag and school supplies, which can be dropped off in person at 472 Logie Bay Road. Beth Penny, NTV News.
The RNC has charged a woman with fraud with victims across multiple provinces. Police received a report from a Nova Scotia business on August 18th that it had delivered a vehicle to a woman in St. John's who had used a fake ID to make the purchase. The RNC then received a report the next day from a woman in British Columbia advising that it was her identity that had been used to make the purchase. Officers found the vehicle in the Center City area during a traffic stop on Sunday. The female driver gave police a fraudulent license. After further questioning, the woman was identified as 44-year-old Susan Hillier. She was charged with possession of property obtained by crime and public mischief, as well as driving without a license, insurance, and registration. Hillier was also charged with fraud and unlawfully obtaining another person's identity with intent. She was held to appear in court.
Police are asking for your help tonight after an ATV collision in Labrador City. It happened at 2 o'clock this morning at the intersection of Hudson Drive and Carroll Drive. The 24-year-old man driving the ATV was rushed to hospital with critical injuries. The RNC is looking for witnesses or anyone with video around the time of that collision.
A new conservation area was unveiled for central Newfoundland today. NTV's Kyle Brookings reports.
The Nature Conservancy of Canada has partnered with Tech Resources and the Government of Canada to create a new conservation area in central Newfoundland. The new area covers both sides of the Exploits River, southwest of Millertown, and extends west along the south shore of Beothic Lake.
I'm proud to announce the establishment of the Beothic Lake Nature Reserve. It's 1,600 hectares of boreal forest, wetlands, and shoreline in the heart of the island of Newfoundland. So to paint a picture, the forests and wetlands of the Beothic Lake Nature Reserve clean the water that flows down the Exploits River to communities like Badger, Grand Falls, Windsor, and Bishops Falls. Its shorelines offer important spawning habitat within one of Newfoundland's largest salmon-bearing river systems. Its forests are home to woodland caribou and Newfoundland pine marten and are beloved by community members.
The new area will protect important salmon-bearing river systems. It will also help protect water quality in the island's largest drainage basin while maintaining nearby habitat used by caribou.
That is why I am so pleased to be here today to celebrate the establishment of the Beothic Lake Conservation Area. This conservation area protects 1,600 hectares near Millertown, including an important part of the Exploits River watershed.
Millertown Mayor Fiona Humber says she's excited for what this means for her community.
Looking forward to working with NCC and the other Indigenous groups to try and do some more for the area. We're a very small town, so our volunteer capabilities are sometimes limited and we can't do as much as we'd like to.
This area is one of several that is protected by the NCC in Newfoundland and Labrador. In St. John's, Kyle Brookings, NTV News.
Still ahead in tonight's news, Lauren Davis takes us to a showcase in Bay Roberts in your community. Ryan Harding has more in the weather forecast. And when we come back on the Inside Story, Marine Atlantic gets ready to add a new vessel to its fleet. This is the NTV Evening News Hour. Welcome back to the NTV Evening News Hour. Marine Atlantic has received a new charter vessel that the company expects will strengthen ferry service in the province. NTV's Andrew Connors has the inside story.
Marine Atlantic is welcoming a new vessel to its fleet.
Yeah, so we're really excited about the Eau Rouge. It'll have more capacity, certainly from a passenger perspective. It doesn't technically replace the Leif Erikson per se, but what it will do is add additional capacity to our fleet. So for comparison, the vessel is about 60% bigger from a deck space perspective than the Leif Erikson. It's about 40 meters longer. As I said, it's more similar to the Alasunu, so it's a much more flexible vessel.
The vessel is currently en route to North Sydney to train incoming staff. It's expected to begin service on October 16th, running between North Sydney and both Port aux Basques and Argentia.
We took possession of the vessel yesterday. It's now en route to North Sydney and should be arriving around Thursday of next week, we're hoping. There is work that needs to happen when it gets to Canada as well. So once it gets to North Sydney, there's a reflagging that needs to happen. There's a lot of regulatory things we need to do. There's also a lot of final touches when it comes to integration that needs to happen with different systems on board and stuff. And of course, we have to do crew familiarization as well. So that'll take a few weeks.
The name Eau Rouge is a tribute to the Francophone Newfoundland and Labrador community. Thibault of Marine Atlantic says that's important as these vessels become a part of the province's culture and history.
We do think it's important to try to find ways to connect the vessels with community. So in this case here, we were lucky to work with the Francophone Association, and this vessel is meant to honor the rich French heritage in the province.
Thibault says the vessel means a lot for Marine Atlantic, and he believes that customers, the tourism industry, and the commercial sector alike will be happy with the new vessel. For NTV News, I'm Andrew Connors.
Prime Minister.
Tonight's weather is brought to you in part by your Atlantic Ford store. Certified expertise, verified for your Ford. Keep your Ford a Ford.
How we doing? Happy Thursday to you. One more tomorrow, and it looks like it's going to be a good one. We just got a little extra cloud to get through on the island in the morning. It's going to look very familiar to the eastern side of the island. We woke up to conditions like this yesterday morning. We're just sharing that around tomorrow, and we're going to share the sun around as the day goes on, and there's nothing much more to it than that. A little southwest wind keeping cloud hanging tight to the coastline on the south-facing side a little longer into the afternoon, but we all break out into that sun before too long. We take a quick peek and look at those daytime highs that are pretty much copy and pasted from today. 25 in St. John's, looks like Clarenville and Gander at the 27 mark. There's a relatively light west wind coming through with a southwest tilt, which we'll see on the western side of the island as well. Port au Choix getting up to 20 degrees, often in the high teens. Not tomorrow, 27. Grand Falls winds are through to Corner Brook. We'll put a 21 spot in Port aux Basques, and the 19 on the board goes to Harbour Breton. Now we take a quick peek up into Labrador, where there's some lovely temperatures as well. But really, the one thing to talk about in terms of weather is going to be the rain. So the sentiment of the day for Labrador City is rain tomorrow, and a little bit cooler at 18 degrees. It's morning for Labrador City, afternoon for Churchill Falls, and evening for Happy Valley Goose Bay. As that rain goes across, the totals that accumulate are going to drop off. So we're at 10 to 15, 5 to 10, and 1 to 2 millimeters in that. And then as the day goes on, we'll see some cloud increase across the coastline. Now, we'll open things up into the country and show a 25-degree spot in Fort McMurray. Feels like home. Hey, Fort Mac, you do have some showers potentially into tomorrow. We'll show that in just a moment. And then we're all clear across the prairies into northern Ontario. We do have a little bit of light rain passing over Lake Ontario into Montreal at 23 degrees and 24 in Halifax. And look at that, Labrador City and St. John's right in there with the rest of them at 23 and 25 currently. All right, now we'll take a look at this map, but with how things are going to go. So if Fort McMurray interests you, direct your attention to here. If at home interests you, Labrador specifically, we'll watch that rain that we're seeing pass through the Ontario portion of the country today, move up into Labrador tomorrow, and there's some chance of those light showers in Fort McMurray at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. We'll take a look a little bit closer at that arrival time for Labrador. We see it at 10 a.m. for Labrador City specifically, with the south wind kind of battling a northwest wind in that, keeping the rain in that region a little bit longer, hence the extra totals. You also getting that trailing spring rain passing through at 3 p.m., which is when we're anticipating the arrival in Churchill Falls. All the while, still sun and cloud, Happy Valley Goose Bay through to the coastline. But as I mentioned earlier, we're going to spend the rest of the afternoon into the evening watching that cloud inch closer and closer to the coast there. And we're going to see that south wind bring up the tail of this rain into Happy Valley Goose Bay with that lighter total. You can see it kind of tapering off on its arrival even. And the last little bit of sun, well, that goes to Cartwright, down into Red Bay by the looks of things. We take a look and see where the rain is coming next for Newfoundland. We go to the Atlantic Ocean for that, and we just follow the lines really, and what we're seeing is some rain tomorrow afternoon approaching the Atlantic region, and that's going to bypass Nova Scotia and creep right on into our doorstep here. So it looks like St. John's, specifically in the northern portion of the Avalon, by noon hasn't seen any rain yet, but we are seeing some in the central regions and some light rain on the western side, all the while watching some rain move across Labrador as well. Now, that's at noon, and you can see it just whoop out the other side by that 5 p.m. mark. It's relatively light. There's not a whole lot to it, so the sentiment of the day for the eastern side is cloud, but there is some rainy moments in there before the sun breaks back out on Sunday, and it looks like that Monday returns with some rain. The other thing we're going to watch is that temperature slowly drop on down, aren't we, in that 5-day forecast, settling at 16 degrees on the Tuesday, accompanied with the sun and cloud. Not going to be a trend so much on the south coast. Sure, it trends down, just a lot more gradual, 20 down to 18. It looks like Saturday and Monday is the rain days, and then Sunday and Tuesday is the sun and cloud. You see the extra cloud there on the Friday. We talked about that. The closer you get to the coastline, the better the chance to see a little prolonged periods of cloud, but the sun is in there for you as well. Central, we see Saturday rain. We're in that 5 millimeter mark that we showed on the radar before things break back open Sunday at 24 degrees. Rain on Monday leading into the Tuesday. The other thing to note is that humidity. So the 27 degrees on Friday, right at the end of the day, we're going to see that humidity peak up, hold through the overnight, and then drop as that rain comes in on Saturday. So the warmest point and that daytime high feeling like 34 is likely going to be around the supper hour. Over to the west coast, we'll apply that logic as well and see that light rain come through Saturday, hold off on Sunday, and return on Monday. We're seeing a 10-degree difference between Friday and Tuesday, which has sun and cloud. To the northern peninsula, look at that drop, 22 down to 13. Monday night, you'll likely feel that 9 degrees. Some rain on Saturday, returning on Monday. So it looks like sun and cloud, rain, sun and cloud, rain, sun and cloud. That's a trend. We'll take it. One on, one off. Why not? South coast of Labrador, you see a little bit of a flash there on Saturday. It takes the day to reach the coastline, breaks open again on Sunday. A little extra rain in the forecast for the north coast and some cooler temperatures Monday night getting down to 4 degrees. Happy Valley Goose Bay will take some rain on Sunday and Monday, but some sunny periods as well. Sundays comes from Saturday's leftovers by the looks of things. And finishing off in Labrador West, where we're going to wait until Tuesday to get nothing but sun and jump up from that 14 back into 17, matching Friday.
And we are going to take a break on the NTV Evening News Hour, but do stay with us. When we come back, Lauren Davis is back in your community, and tonight she's going to take us to Bay Roberts. Stay with us. Welcome back to the NTV Evening News Hour. Tonight in your community, Lauren Davis takes us to a special showcase in Bay Roberts.
Grew up in an Indiana town, had a good-looking mommy who never was around, but she grew up tall and she grew up right with the Indiana boys on an Indiana night.
Hello, I'm here in beautiful Bay Roberts in Community Gardens, where I am with Dean Clark and Gavin Ryan. They are the brains behind Showcase on the Rock. Now, Dean, can you tell us a little bit about Showcase on the Rock?
Absolutely. The Showcase on the Rock started from a brainchild of the radio show I do in Waterloo, Ontario, called Off the Rock Radio. And what it is I play all genres of Newfoundland music. I don't segregate between, sounds. If it's from Newfoundland, it gets played. So 4 years ago, I had an idea that I wanted to put this together on stage. And so 4 years ago in Carbonear, where it started, it was originally called Jam on the Rock, and we started out with 15 people. Darcy Scott being one of them, Ray Johnson being another one. And then it just grew from there. It was a one-day, 15-person festival, and then it turned into a 2-day, year 2. Last year, we moved it to Bay Roberts, changed the name to Showcase on the Rock, because it's really not a jam. It's showcasing the musical talent of what Newfoundland has to offer that no one sees. So these musicians come out on their own time and come out to showcase what they have. Some of them have never played on a stage before. So we give them that opportunity. We give them that stage. It's like if you build it, they will come. And the idea behind it is to this free family event for people to come out and hear new sounds, hear new music that they might have never even heard of before. And then, of course, the networking and the connections that musicians make by talking to one another and going, hey, how'd you do this? Where did you get your songs recorded? And then it just grows from there. And then we're just a big, big happy family and a big festival that just turned into something that is beyond anything I could have ever imagined.
Now, Gavin, why is it important for events like this in Bay Roberts?
It's important for events like this because it helps bring out local people. It helps bring out people to music that they never heard of before. And it showcases the real town Newfoundland and Labrador music.
Where can we find information about this event?
It's all over the socials because that's the thing nowadays. Showcase on Da Rock. Is where you can go. Search it up on Instagram, Facebook. Off the Rock Radio is my music page, my radio show page on Facebook, Instagram. offtheRockRadio.com is the website, and everything gets kind of linked in from there. But yeah, so this weekend, starting tomorrow at 3 o'clock, headlining tomorrow night is going to be Port au Poutine, and then on Saturday night is going to be The Way East headlining, and on Sunday is going to be headlining is Julia Dawson with Bruce Smith. And in between, we're almost at 37 musicians over 3 days this weekend. And again, it's free. It's for the entire family. And these gardens are absolutely stunning. I'm super excited to have this again this year. So yeah, Showcase on the Rock, taking part here in Bay Roberts, the community gardens. Come out. I would love to have everybody here.
Well, you heard him. Come out to beautiful Bay Roberts for Showcase on the Rock. I mean, you can't miss out, right? This is what's happening in your community. I'm Lauren Davis with NTV.
To movie news now, here is CNN's David Daniel with your Hollywood Minute.
Who sent you?
You did. Get down. Come with me if you want to live.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day is back for its 35th anniversary. The sci-fi blockbuster, which won 4 Academy Awards, returns to theaters for 6 days, this Friday through next Wednesday. Locations and showtimes at fathomentertainment.com.
I had zero context for what I was about to get into.
Ryan Gosling is getting into a modern Stone Age family. According to Deadline and The Hollywood Reporter, he's set to produce a live-action take on the Flintstones. Gosling was also a producer on his big hit this spring, Project Hail Mary, and on the upcoming romantic drama, Love of Your Life.
How long do you think we can do this? Just sitting in here, driving.
Here's a sort of home video experience in the theater. It Ends, an existential road trip movie that takes place mainly in one vehicle, opens Friday. And moviegoers with the Theater Ears app on their phones can listen to writer-director Alexander Ullum's commentary track while they watch. Viewers just download the free app, put in earbuds or headphones, and press play when the movie starts. Syncing up in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Stay with us while we take one more break on the NTV Evening News Hour. Ryan Harding will be back to recap the weather forecast, looking lovely in Grand Falls, Windsor. And when we return, Jim Furlong will have Today in History.
Welcome back to the NTV Evening News Hour. He was one of the people responsible for the rise of the Beatles, but his life ended in tragedy. Here is Dr. Jim Furlong with Today in History.
In 1967, on the 27th of August, Brian Epstein, the manager of the Beatles, they were on the edge of superstardom then. Epstein was found dead of an accidental drug overdose. He was all of 32, but he lived in a fast and shadowy world. He got the Beatles off the ground. His relationship with the Beatles went back to 1961 and Liverpool. They had no real management at the time, did the Beatles. They did well with Epstein. He straightened them out, so to speak. He had a family record business in Liverpool and knew his way around the dark streets of the music business. Eventually, Epstein died. He died because of the way he lived. Died of a drug overdose. It happened on a day in 1967. Well, it happened, on this date in history. This is Jim Perline reporting.
Birthdays and anniversaries brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation. We are the foundation that takes action so we all can take care of each other.
And we're going to start off tonight with a photo of Eileen and Bill Ryan in Pasadena. They are celebrating a 59th wedding anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary to Godfrey and Priscilla Mitchellmore. They live in St. Anthony. Happy 50th anniversary to Bob and Bridie Ryan in Aquafort. Happy 58th anniversary going out to Agnes and Stephen Cusick. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Marina and Hedley Patey. Dave and Rochelle Walsh are celebrating a 50th anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary to Nick and Kay Aylward. They live in Witless Bay. Carl and Ruth Buffett in Port aux Basques. Look at those photos, celebrating a 59th wedding anniversary. Lots of great photos this evening, so you're going to enjoy seeing all of these. Happy 62nd wedding anniversary going out to Dawn and Hetty Tilley. They live in Lewisport. Frank and Gladys Walsh of Little Bay celebrating a 58th anniversary. Happy 90th birthday going out to Madeline Cornick. Congratulations to you. What a princess. Happy 93rd birthday to Glowina Foss, living at Kingsway Living in Lewisport. Clarence and Madonna Benoit celebrating a 50th wedding anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary as well to Gerard and Roberta Trainer in Fermuse. Alma Noseworthy is celebrating a 99th birthday at St. Luke's Home. Congratulations to you. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Mart and Brenda Cave. Daphne and George Greenland are celebrating a 60th wedding anniversary. Great photo there. Happy 50th anniversary going out to Helen and Cletus Din. Bill and Debbie Sampson celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary as well to Wayne and Elaine Mercer in Bishop's Falls. Joyce Bailey is celebrating a 96th birthday. Happy 60th wedding anniversary to George and Rita Kindon. They live in Glenwood. Levi and Myra Churchill of Hodges Cove, currently living at Kings Haven in Clarenville, celebrating a 60th wedding anniversary, and they look happier now than the day they got married. Happy 50th anniversary going out to Carol and Hubert Cantwell. Anna and Fred Peach in Arnold's Cove, celebrating a 50th wedding anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary as well going out to two beautiful couples. Look at this pair. What am I saying? Not pair. Two couples, Paul and Georgina Daw and Dennis and Marina Newbury. Two brides, two grooms, one very special day, we're told, and 50 wonderful years of love and marriage. Congratulations to all four of you on this 50th wedding anniversary. Happy 90th birthday to Margarita de Villa in Grand Falls, Windsor, celebrating a 90th birthday. And finally this evening, happy 50th anniversary going out to Barry and Loretta Ball of Glen Burnie.
How's the Bayvert Peninsula doing tonight? A lovely day today, a lovely day in store tomorrow. You see Brittany showcasing out of Mings Bight Harbor. Mings Bight, good to see you. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. All the different colors there, but the one color that was the trend today was blue, wasn't it? In the sky and in the ocean. And a gorgeous one in store again tomorrow. Again, a reminder, Labrador West. Yeah, the sentiment of the day tomorrow is some rain. And outside of that, we'll basically copy and paste today into tomorrow. And Tony Marie and Michael, it's a good thing there isn't another hit, because I would have had to bring out the tap shoes here tonight. The old Mount Pearl Show choir days would have came through.
I would have liked to have seen that, actually, Ryan.
We'll save that one.
All right, thanks so much, Ryan. And thanks to all of you for joining us tonight on the NTV Evening News Hour.
Stay with us. Up next on Global National, the latest on the flooding in Nepal. Good night.
Good night.